actually right across from Jason Mark is a place called Riff LA, and they've got all the Yeezys, all the Jordans, all the hot shit.
Those are hot too.
Yeah. Riff doesn't have Y3s. Y3 is a little too.
It's too bougie.
A little fancy.
Yeah.
A little fancy. All right, so welcome. This is my first time seeing with you guys. I mean, obviously, I've been a fan of yours for years. Like, even introducing yourself, it's like, that's super cool. But welcome. I think we're meeting on good terms. Luck number 7.
Yeah.
Good album coming up. What can we expect, and how excited are you guys?
I mean, we're super excited. Each record for us is it's a baby. You know, we put a lot of effort in. Like, I mean, when I say a lot of effort into each record, there aren't that many artists that you'll meet who will work on an album for 12 to 18 months. So for us, you know, to go over a year to just make 10 songs, we probably crank out over 100 demos. You know, probably 40 of them have lyrics all the way down, and then finally end up on the 10 that made the album, which is called One More Light, and it comes out in May. And you know, as we do that, like each release of the song is like its own special little moment, you know. So a lot goes into it. It's like for us, I think there's an anticipation, you know, just getting it out there in the world that's really high.
Why would you say that you guys put so much care into? And I think that's the right way of wording it.
Yeah, for sure.
The care into the song before just, you know, sending them out there.
Well, I think for us, you know, we're a little bit of perfectionists to a certain degree, but also there's so much material, like, and we're not the kind of group that just like, oh, we wrote like 12 demos, like we've got 12 songs now. Right. We're gonna like work them through, and that's actually very, from my experience, pretty common. Like you get to like maybe up to 20, and you're like, okay, let's stop. Like let's work on those. For us, it's like, okay, cool. Like we actually got on a roll. Like why stop? And so, you know, in our experience, like if this is what's happening, and if we feel good about it, and it's like what we're creating now, and the process is feeling good, like let's just keep going and see where it takes us, because we want to create the best possible music that we can to our liking.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, like Mike said, like out of like 150 demos, which all of them are interesting in some degree.
I don't know about that. Some of them were garbage.
Some of them were garbage.
Some were real garbage.
But I mean, there's an element that may inspire the next demo.
For sure.
And so like, but out of that, like on this time around, like I'd say like 50 of the songs of the demos, like pretty much got lyrics and melodies on them, and it was kind of hard to figure out. Like I could have honestly like picked 10 out of any of those 50 and been like happy with the record.
Right. I was just want to say, how do you keep track of that? Like, just like,
Yeah.
is there sometimes you
It
make
gets
something,
crazy.
you come back to it, and you're like, wait, what was this again?
We go through periods where we got to get organized a little bit, but you know, as you get further along in the process, it's obvious. I think, at least in our band, it's obvious because we got 6 guys, and we want to make sure, you know, as from my position where I'm kind of trying to help. My part of my role is to keep things organized and keep everybody's their feelings about each song in order too. Okay. It's not just like what's the song. It's like, okay, Joe made a comment that the drum track on this one is boring. Rob made a comment that this lyric felt weird to him, or that, and on this other song it was his favorite thing on the album, right? So to put all those things, keep all those things organized, and remember who liked what and what I need to work on. Like we keep a lot of notes, and I try and make sure that I'm like kind of holding all that together, because one of the hardest things to do is, I mean, it's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of groups these days with so many members, right? Even if you see a rock band these days, usually a rock band is like 3 people, because it's easier to get 3 people to get along than 4, right? So 6 guys, it's like we need all 6 of the guys to love the songs, and that's a tall order.
Wow. The music nerd in me, the music lover in me is like, are you actually taking notes?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're typing, yeah.
Typing in, but there's something like a reference point.
What I do is you want to get nerdy. I make my documents of like all the songs and all the notes, and I type all them out, and then I will save them and do version 2, before. So I've got all my old notes that I've like removed stuff from. Like, okay, I handled that. Like, okay, that drum, Joe said that drum part was boring. I handled it, he heard it, he liked it, deleted it from the thing. And then the next week, if he could be like, okay, now Joe thinks it's exciting, and Dave thinks, like, why'd that drum part change? I don't like the new one. Right? And so I have to write a new note. And then I have to sort. It's like, it can be really tedious, but the bottom line is I think I went to school for illustration. I went to school for painting, drawing, and graphic design. And, but the painting and drawing was forefront. And with that comes like a real attention to craftsmanship. And they taught us, they just killed us with craftsmanship at school. And it really applies when we're making a song. Like, it's not just like, there is one school of thought where it's like, you just do whatever, feels natural, and you're done. Like,
that's my school.
And that works. Like, some artists make beautiful.
But this is why it's a good team.
Yeah, there's a beautiful thing to it. Like, some of my favorite artists, like my understanding is like there's a large degree of that going on with like when Rage Against the Machine was making music all together. Bjork kind of works that way, like a Wilder kind of like
just Jack White does it, like he just gets in there and like will just record as he's playing, and I think that's brilliant. Jay-Z does that a lot.
It's more of a like it's not jamming per se, but it's more of a like fluid kind of thing, and we make room for that in our process, and we save that as its own like almost like untouched version. So that if that's version 1.1 or whatever, we do that, we save it, and then we start doing stuff, and we always come back to it and refer to like, okay, let's play the original thing against the new thing.
Build off that.
Is it better? Yeah. Did it get better? And sometimes it didn't.
Very cool. I think. But then okay? Let's take for example, Heavy, lead single. How does that become? Who makes that decision? And how did you end up working with Kiara?
That song was a really interesting song because it was like there was a vibe that was present but wasn't recognized yet, and so the early demos, it was kind of like you could feel where it could go, but it was like, how do we get there? So that was an interesting journey to get it to where it is musically and arrangement wise. And then when we were in the studio with Julia Michaels and Justin, we were working with her. It was me, Mike, and Brad, and she'd be singing a line, I'd be singing a line, Mike would sing a line, and just as part of the process, kind of as we're writing, like, oh, check this part out, like, what do you think of this? And we'd sing it, and her voice was so dope, and it just was. We started feeling like this song. If there's a song that could use a female feature, it's this song like really lends itself to that. And so we were inspired to do that through just the writing process with Julia.
Yeah, I'd say too that like for people that are watching that aren't as familiar with our band, like this is our 7th album. Up until now, we've never really written with other people this way. Like last album, we did a couple of experiments like this, but really only one of them was like started from scratch, and we created a song with someone, and the rest of it we've always just done all the heavy lifting ourselves. I mean, I shouldn't even characterize it that way because it's not about the amount of work or the like who does what. It's like at this point in our career, I know we're confident as writers. Like I know I can write a great song on my own. I know Chester can write a great song on his own. And when we get together with other people, it opened the doors to like ideas that we wouldn't have naturally just had, and they happen a lot faster. Like all in one day, we basically walked in, and the process was to start with like, what do we care about right now? What do we feel like writing about? As opposed to coming in and making a track, working from a track. And usually the track, we just realized this morning, that up until now, a lot of our songs have been written like music first, and then the music will dictate like what the lyrics should be. Because it'll be, if it's a loud, heavy punk song, like the lyrics are going to be loud and aggressive.
Sort of take the vibe from that.
Right, but that may not be the thing that's most inspiring to you this morning. You may walk in the door and say, I had a fight with my best friend. Like my relationship with my really good friend is under stress right now. That's the only thing I'm thinking about, and it's I feel sad, or I feel like it's a more somber kind of energy, and then you come in and the music is like up and aggressive and da 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 da, and you're like, okay, like that's what we're doing.
Right.
But if I really asked you when you walked in the door, what's the thing you really want to write about? It'd be something that didn't sound like that. And so that was the thing that I thought was we realized this morning. It was like actually really different.
That's really cool for sharing that, because I've never even, like, for me, when I say I nerd out in terms of the process, I don't make the music. I love the music. I listen to it. I'm on the receiving end, but I'm just like, well, how much care goes into this? How much of like our real life experiences and our feelings are into this? There's no way I can sit with you guys and not, show my respects. You guys have been doing it together for a long time, and a lot of people haven't been able to stay together. So tip of the hat to you guys for that. How much of your journey is represented on this new project?
Well, it's interesting because, like Mike was saying earlier, like we'd walk into a room with nothing, and by the end of the day, we'd have a song. And that was way different than our experience in the past, which is kind of like we build these tracks, which took time, and then we have to go like uncover what the song's supposed to be, because the song was dictating the emotional outcome of the track, or the melodies and lyrics. So we have to figure that out. And a lot of times we kind of like draw from our personal experiences and create these characters. And so as opposed to this time around, it was like, dude, like, I'm having a hard time with life right now. Like, and I'm struggling, and you guys are, and people are witnessing it, and it's like, all of a sudden it's like the conversation switched from how's the weather and this traffic sucks to like, this is what I'm dealing with, and all of a sudden somebody else goes, well, like I'm dealing with like this, that's crazy because this is going on in my life, and now we have a common ground, and next thing you know, like 15 minutes into the conversation, Mike gets up and starts playing the piano without saying anything, because like some musical thing is coming to his mind, and like next thing you know, like lyrics are being dropped and melodies are being dropped, and 5, 6, 7 hours goes by, and like we have verses, pre-choruses, choruses, bridges, like the whole arrangement is done, and in some cases we're like cutting vocals. Like either reference vocals that night, or like actually sometimes even like maybe we're like, dude, you just want to sing it down. And what it was interesting about that too is like not only do we have the song right away, but now the song and the melodies have captured the raw emotion of what we're really going through, and we're able to record the vocal or a version of the vocal that day and sit with it.
Right.
So not only, and then we can start building the track. So, I may be able to come in like a couple weeks later, know the song front to back, all the lyrics by heart. We might make a couple changes, but now I'm in there singing from my heart as opposed to reading them off the page or coming up with a melody as I'm writing lyrics to a song, like, which is really hard to do. Like, I don't know about you, but when I learn how to play a song on guitar, I don't just go, oh, I want to play so-and-so song and pick up the guitar and just start playing it. Like, I have to actually learn it and then figure out the movements and like get used to it before it's fluid. The same thing goes with me with writing and singing a song. Like, a lot of times, like, we're in the studio, I'm making this stuff up, and or Mike's making it as we're tracking. And so it's not until like we played the song, for a few months on the road where I'm like, man, I wish I could cut the vocals down because I'm feeling
on previous albums it was that way.
And so like, I'm like, the whole dynamic changes emotionally, the performance, everything changes as a result of starting the process this way for us.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you guys are still being able to rock out together and share, and thanks for coming and sitting with me. We're looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.